Hi, Eva Nichols here. It's a little class demo. Sorry about the quality, but it was recorded in class. Hope you enjoy it.
I'm just gonna mix some cobalt blue. It's my go-to sky color. And there's not very much sky showing here, but I want to have a little bit on. And I'll keep it quite light because I'm gonna have foliage and stuff like that. So there's the cobalt blue. And then I'm going to wet the top of my painting. Just clean water. I'm painting on 300 pounds, so it's a little bit thicker. And we know that 300 pounds has a way of wanting to soak in. And you want to spend a little time making sure that your paper is wet enough. And can you see, I just kind of made an uneven edge there. And since some of that is going to be the top of the trees, I might actually even go in and use my sprayer. I'm kind of holding and use my sprayer for that edge because I would like to get more, so it's almost like I'm painting the foliage with the sky.
Right.
Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So let's see, because when it's just lying down, I can't see anything. Let's see, can we see?
With the dot?
That's the one with the dot. And if you don't have that, you can borrow mine. And unfortunately, I think we went through that last time. Unfortunately, I can't offer you that I can sell any to you, which I have been able to in the past, because they are currently unavailable. Last time I checked on the website. They are, if you know anybody with that kind of machinery that could make a dot bottle, you would make a good living in the watercolor world, I think. So there it is, and I'm just gonna run in some of that cobalt blue. And up here, I dipped into just a little bit of my peacock blue. It's more of just because I always like to vary it a little bit. But you don't have to do that, and if any of you would like to borrow some peacock blue, or you can also use Antwerp or Prussian or phthalo, whatever blue you have. The drawback with that blue is that it doesn't lift as well, but it's, I don't think we all have any problems here. So now I'm just looking at what is happening, and I'm gonna move it a little bit back and forth. And what I'm mainly interested in is my edges here. If I get some good edges and nothing too straight. And you know how the sky is always a little bit lighter at the bottom, so that's why I'm moving it back and forth so that it can run. The sky is always lighter, closer down to the horizon, and it's darker when you're looking up here. So you always want to make sure that you don't paint your sky like flat with the same color everywhere. That's not such a good idea. All right, so let's see. I think that's pretty okay. Now, can you see how I'm pushing? It's like I'm pushing the brush in. I'm not painting, I'm just pushing the brush in a little bit. I'm just on its side, just to try and get a little bit more of that effect of top of foliage. There. You see that?
Right.
So I think this will work.
Looks really good.
So there. That was step one. That wasn't too bad. So you can go and do a sky on yours, and if anybody needs to borrow anything from me, let me know. And then I could just post, just kind of like all the demos I did. If you needed a little repeat.
On your website, right?
Yes, I will send you a link then. So can you see where I put the water with my spray bottle? So can you see it's already kind of, irregular, and could be, it's almost like I painted the foliage of the aspens in water first.
Right.
And so now I can just be very free and start putting some color on. And I'm just going to start with a little bit of the yellow. And nobody says I can't spray in again if I find that it's not spreading enough. I want to make sure that I keep it nice and light, And a little bit more of that. It'll be more up on the tops where the light hits. I haven't really decided which way the light's coming from, I guess. So just like this, a little bit in here. A little bit there. And so rinse that out, and then I can take a little bit of the quinacridone gold, so just so you can see the difference. Can you see that's a lot warmer, much more warm yellow? And so you can also probably see that that's exactly like as if you would put just a little bit of the burnt sienna into your transparent yellow. So it's not like you need to have all these colors.
That's the quinacridone gold.
That's the quinacridone gold, yeah.
Nice.
Just trying to get some of those fun colors. And just down here. A little bit there. I mean, I could connect it. Why not? Go out to the edge here. You know, I can always make it go away with when I put the blues on. That'll swallow up all that yellow. If I get it somewhere where I don't want. And I'm gonna have it a little bit darker down in here. So I'm taking a little bit more of the quinacridone gold because, you know, the tops are getting the most light. And so this is just one of those, it's kind of like just letting the watercolor paint for me. And I'm not even gonna rinse it out. I'm just gonna dip into a little bit of the burnt sienna. A little bit more. And I'm also gonna make it a little bit darker out here on the edges. And underneath it'll be a little bit darker. In here, a little bit. And take it up, lift it, let it run. So there's all this golden color. And before, I'm not going to even rinse it out. I dipped into a little tiny bit of the red. That gives me more of an orange. I just want these nice glowing golden colors. And I don't know, but when I drive, especially when I drive home, like tonight, the sun would be just at the ankle when I'm driving up through my neighborhood. And the sun will kind of give me backlight on these, and it's like they are glowing.
Aren't they beautiful?
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
It is just such a pretty time.
You wonder where that color comes from. You know, it just pops.
Yeah.
It's like a light.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Just the way the sky was at dawn.
Oh, it was beautiful.
yeah, you get the beautiful skies here. I can't really see so much of that from my house.
Oh, I took my daughter to the airport, and she goes, "Oh, Grandma, it's so beautiful. It's so pink."
Well, I especially believe it's Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I
So
got
what is
enough.
the pink color? Is that the?
That's
the red?
quinacridone red.
Okay.
That's the quinacridone red I put in there, just a little bit. Of course, it gives a different kind of
Really?
orange.
Pumps it out.
Yeah, it does. So I think that's enough fun. And what I might do when I can see that the pigment is starting to sink in a little bit, sometimes I like to even just splatter a little bit of water in when it's beginning to dry, exactly where it's dangerous and normally you would stay out. Because if I got a few little blooms, I would be a very happy camper. And I don't know, I often find that when I want the blooms, they don't come. And when I don't want them and try to avoid them, there they are. But can always try. And if I see something out here that I don't like, I'm just going to spray into it just a little bit.
The paper's so wet.
It looks really good though, irregular and everything.
Yeah, that's what you want, you know. That's how nature is, right? All right, I'm going to call it a day. That was easy.
I know, it's fun too.
That's pretty.
I want to take a picture of your outfit.
So,
Aspens in my picture. You should have told me.
oh, you could, you could.
I guess.
But, you know, if you have greens, it doesn't matter if it's aspens or any other deciduous trees, they have those shapes.
Okay.
Yeah,
There we go.
same technique, just different colors.
Okay.
Now, some of us don't have all those trees.
No, And you don't have to have all those trees. This is just to show you, if you had deciduous, any kind of deciduous trees, but maybe they were like an oak that was, green, or any other, summertime or any other time, it would be the same technique. And the next thing is I'm gonna get the background and the evergreens in, so you get both evergreens and,
I guess I should do my rocks.
but you have trees there.
No, I know, but I was thinking I didn't mask out my rocks.
Oh yeah, I just did it now just because I thought, that's faster, I can just paint over. So,
So your class is full, right? For the,
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Okay, so I put sometimes just a piece of masking tape if I need a straight line. That way I don't have to worry about that. It's not the end of the world. You can certainly lift it out afterwards, and maybe you're good with straight. I'm just not. So I just put that on because right where the water hits these bushes. And I have my colors already. Same colors as I have up there, only I'm gonna darken them at the bottom because they're away from the light. And there'll be little rocks and grasses and weeds and stuff. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of water in where I can kind of see it. And I'm actually gonna just continue it out here. And I'm gonna show you. Can you kind of see where I put it on, the water? Again, just not super precise. And then I'm just gonna go in with the similar colors, a little bit of the yellow. And for ease, I masked out my rocks. I just gave them a little outline of masking fluid. There's some of that color, yellow. Not even gonna bother rinsing out my brush. Here's my quinacridone gold. And put a little bit more of that in. Through here, there's some bushes. And then there's some bushes that goes down, this side. So I'm kind of painting around them a little bit. Again, not too important because that I can always separate later. Basically, you're going from the big shapes to the small shapes. So first we're just getting the big shapes in with this, semi-correct color. All right. And again, I can just kind of uneven the edge a little bit by just giving it a little spritch. Then I am going to go in with some of my burnt sienna. And I'm just going to run that in more from the bottom because the bottom is going to be darker. And it's kind of nice if I can have a little bit darker around this rock here because, the top of the rock, that's where the light's going to hit it. I do believe that I'll have my light come from over here. It's my universe, I can do whatever I want, but I'm kind of thinking that might be nice. And I can also uneven this edge down here because that's, going to be the bottom of the bushes further away, but it's also going to be the top of the bushes that are closer to me. So if I can kind of make the edge not like a super straight edge, it's better. Did I start it? Yes, I started it. So now I want to tone it down a little bit. And what I'm going to do to do that is I am going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna. I'm going to put it over here, and it was not very much. And then I'm going to take some of my cobalt blue. And can you see how that then right away becomes kind of like a brownish gray, depending on how much blue and how much burnt sienna I have in. And so I'm going to put some of that in. And you can see I'm just kind of dabbing it in here and there.
That's not me.
And a little bit more, and I can just take some of the burnt, or the French ultramarine, not French ultramarine. French ultramarine, I could certainly use that too, but that would make it even darker. I don't know if I want to go that dark. But can you see how that just kind of grays it down?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks kind of vegetation-like. in my book anyway. So a few more little dabs here and there, down here, and I'll call that good. So then I have that shape, and now I have to wait for that to dry. And I can probably pick up this tape now. You could let it sit. Ooh, I wonder if it's gonna. Oops. Oops. That's okay. I'm not gonna worry so much about it. But you can see it did take a little bit of my masking fluid. I was wondering how that was gonna be. So now we know how that's gonna be. Yeah, I kind of like that. I'm thinking maybe right underneath there it's a little bright. Take that away a little bit. Of course, I really don't want it too bright underneath here. Yeah, same in there, especially out here on the edge. Yeah, good enough. And so this area in between here and a little bit up here, that's where you see the evergreens coming through. And that way, you know, that's going to make those trunks of the aspens really visible, because, you know, we're going to have a real dark. The next thing I'll be painting is, I could actually, because this is not super important, I could, so I don't have to call you up again, I could actually go in here and just kind of get this, at least the first color on this area here. And I like to do it while this is still damp, because you see here I have kind of a straight line. I'm not really super crazy about that. So I put a little bit of that yellow in, and that's going to push in here. There's going to be some rocks. There's a rock back there, and it's going to be put some bushes up here. A little bit of the gold color. And I have some rocks here at the bottom. I'm not going to paint them right this second. Take some of the burnt sienna. Just dab that in. And again, not too bright here. But you can see when that kind of runs together, that's nice. Now I took a little bit of the cobalt on a dirty brush. And I'm just dabbing that in. And maybe a little bit more down here. It's going to be a little darker. Might even go with a little bit of the French ultramarine blue. A little bit more burnt sienna to take that green away. Even though a little bit of green would be nice, because there's going to be still some green grasses and stuff there. So I kind of like that. And my motto is, if I like it, I leave it. And if I don't, I do something to it. There. Okay, I think this is good. One little spritz.
One little spritz, but that made all the difference.
Exactly. Now we're doing this one, because we got to get going on this one here. So I'm going to have to paint in, I like to paint in the dark areas behind here. So I got to get my gut up and just do it. I have some nice areas. I have some other areas I'm not so impressed with.
That looks like a little painting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I have not found an easier method that is as effective as that one.
It's like that's the seacoast in Canada.
Yeah.
isn't it beautiful? I mean, you know, just that little piece, I think.
Yeah. I can feel the allergies here today. All right, so I have already prepared my palette. I have French ultramarine blue. I have a little bit of cobalt. I have more cobalt back there. I'm not going to need a lot of cobalt, because I'm going for my darks. And we all know cobalt doesn't really do dark. I have French ultramarine, more French ultramarine. I have indigo for my real dark. I have a little bit of quinacridone gold. These two places have a little bit of the red. I have my yellow, and I have my burnt sienna. That should be good. And now, first, I'm going to put a little bit of water in here, because again, I don't want like one solid color. And in behind here and here, there's, you know, dark areas back here. Same in here. All right, so just to get going, I'm going to put a little bit of the French ultramarine blue in. I like to have some French ultramarine blue in because it granulates, and so it's going to give me some texture, free of charge, so to speak.
That cobalt did a pretty good job in your sky.
Yeah, but it's not dark enough, so that's why I'm going to I'm upping to French ultramarine blue. And again, I can spray in a little bit. I'm keeping pretty close so that it doesn't go everywhere. Of course, I want to have a little time to see what happens here. Sometimes it won't do it. There. And I don't want too hard lines that are all too precise. So there's some of that. I can put a little bit of burnt sienna in some places. Sorry. There. That grays it down a bit more. And I'm not even going to rinse it out. I'm going to put a little bit of the gold in, quinacridone gold. So then I'm turning it a little bit more green, can I tell? Mm-hmm. And I'm just tiptoeing in just to see what's happening. All right. And now I'm going to go brave. I'm going to go into my indigo. A little bit of cobalt. No, not cobalt, but French ultramarine. Okay, can you see? It's happening. That is kind of that nice dark evergreen color. And I like to have different colors behind it because that means that it's going to not look all the same. I don't want it to look all the same because there's all sorts of things going on back there, right? It's, you know, evergreens, bushes, who knows? All sorts of things going on back there. And it's working out pretty well. And I like to do all this while it's still, I want to keep it wet so that things will mingle together. And I'm going to put a little bit more of the burnt sienna and that indigo. They actually make an evergreen color because there's yellow in that evergreen, in that indigo. In the indigo, and there's of course also yellow in the burnt sienna. And I'm trying to do it a little bit darker here because I think that's going to be my focal area. So I want it a little darker here, and then I need to go all the way over here. And a little bit more, a little bit of French ultramarine blue. And down there. So I'm just kind of dancing around here and seeing what's happening. So I'm trying to keep an eye on it, see what's happening, so I can correct as needed. And then here, see, I'm trying to make these tops of those bushes and also the bottom of these trees look organic, and I do that by spraying in. See, if I have dark like there, I would have dark on the other side too. And I don't want it too perfect because that's not nature. All right, so let's get a little bit more of that indigo and a little bit of the yellow on. And now I'm going to try and see if I can, I'm dry brushing. Can you see that? And I have a little bit of, maybe a little splatter on. I'm after these kinds of edges because that looks like foliage to me. And so I also need to pull down, and I don't want to have it, it's a little wet there, so I have to wait a little bit. So not too much water on for dry brushing, obviously. So a little bit, if I can get those edges. Can you see those edges? Mm-hmm. Those are effective, I think, to make it look like it's these trees that are in front of whatever is in the background there. Might have to take off a little bit here. Just looking at getting there.
Yeah.
So, and like there, and you know, we can have a little going in there. And a little bit over on this side. All right, I kind of like that. And I'm going to try and see if I can also get some on the tops of here, you know, of the bushes in front. There we go. I want those uneven edges. That's what I'm after. And it can be a little bit inside there too. If you don't like it, just dab it off right away.
I do a lot of dabbing.
Yeah.
Little dabble do ya.
Exactly. And so now I want to gray it down. Just don't want it so green down there. And I'm going to dab it a little bit. But I want to break up that, you know, I don't want it too all the same down there. There. Okay, let's see. Maybe a little bit more here. But can you see how that,
Wow.
now it kind of looks organic, to me anyway, it does. And a little bit more in here, there. And that's a good beginning. That's a good beginning for that. All right.
That's amazing.
This completes part 1 of this video. Please go to part 2 to see the rest of this painting demo. Thank you so much.